We had the kind of marriage people stop noticing. 11 years in, everything settled into muscle memory. 2 kids, a decent house in Denver's outer suburbs. The Honda was paid off. Our fridge always had oat milk and string cheese. Nothing dramatic, nothing magical either. But I thought that was the point. I thought peace was enough. Jessica worked PR for a high-end fitness brand, always glued to her phone, juggling DMs and ad copy like it was a war zone. Recently, she'd been clocking more late nights. "Campaign season," she said. Big-name client, Travis Blake, the shirtless yogi with a god complex and a podcast. She laughed when I teased her about his thirst traps. "He's a client, not a crush," she said. I believed her. She said it so easily. Then Aiden, our 7-year-old, nuked the dinner table. "Is Uncle Travis coming over again to help Mommy with her camera?" I looked up mid-bite. Jessica blinked, too fast, then smiled, wide and artificial. "Not tonight, sweetie." She dabbed her mouth with a napkin like nothing happened. My fork hit the plate gently. I kept chewing. I nodded. My face didn't change, but my insides tightened like a fist. "Uncle Travis?" That wasn't a nickname a PR rep gave to a client. That was a comfort name. A child's name for someone who's been over more than once. Someone coached into familiarity. I finished dinner. Didn't say a word. Didn't push. Later, when the kids were tucked in and she headed to the shower, I sat on the bed and picked up her phone. She'd left it charging. The screen lit up when I tapped it. Same passcode as always. Her birthday. She assumed I'd stopped noticing, that I no longer cared enough to remember something so simple. She'd been right about a lot of things, but not this. I typed in the numbers. It unlocked on the first try. I didn't go hunting, didn't need to. It was all right there. Message threads with heart emojis, voice notes where her voice dipped into tones she hadn't used on me in years. He called her baby. She called him T. One thread had her whispering, "I can still feel you." A photo followed. Her legs, open, marked. My stomach didn't turn. I didn't cry. I kept scrolling. There were videos. One had her hair tied back, mouth open, eyes rolled back. Her hand was on the camera, his voice behind it. I watched for 6 seconds, then swiped to the next, and the next, and the next. I wasn't watching to torture myself. I was gathering. I found a screen recording, her laughing, sending Travis a clip of herself on our patio. "He still thinks I'm working late," she said, biting her lip, proud of it. She didn't just betray me, she joked about it. That was worse than the sex, worse than the lies. There was one video that sealed it. She was in the back seat of what looked like his SUV. Her dress hiked up, straddling him, laughing. "Don't hit send yet," she whispered, pushing the camera away. He kept filming. She looked straight into the lens and said, "He has no idea." That was the moment something in me died. Not pain, not sadness, just silence. A blank, hollow space where love used to live. I stood up, found a flash drive in the desk drawer, plugged it into my laptop, started transferring files, labeled the folder 2021 tax records. She'd never open it, never think to look there. I moved with clarity, precision, no shaking hands, no shouting, just cold air and purpose. Revenge wasn't even on my mind yet. Only preservation, truth, proof. The water stopped running. I ejected the flash drive and put everything back where it had been, sat on the bed. She walked out in a towel, humming. "You want some tea?" she asked. "Sure," I said. I watched her walk to the kitchen, her back, her legs, her wet hair dripping onto the floor. I used to love that sight. Now I was just memorizing it, taking mental photographs of what she looked like before her life changed. She brought the tea, kissed my cheek. I thanked her. We climbed into bed. She curled away from me as usual. I stared at the ceiling, eyes wide open in the dark. That night, I stopped being her husband and quietly started becoming her reckoning. She came into the kitchen humming, hair damp, loose sweater sliding off one shoulder, looking every bit the woman I used to wake up grateful for. She leaned in to kiss my cheek. I let her. That was my first lie back. I said, "Sleep okay?" She smiled. Like a baby. So did I. I flipped pancakes. Aiden begged for extra syrup. Emma rolled her eyes and grabbed her planner. Jessica scrolled through her phone between sips of coffee, giggling softly. Probably some meme from Travis. Her thumb lingered too long on a voice note icon. I noted the timestamp. 7:52 a.m. I smiled and scraped another pancake onto the plate. I moved like a man who had nothing left to prove. After school drop-off, I didn't go straight to work. I sat in the parking lot with her phone cloned to mine and started sorting. Dates, messages, voice recordings, her calendar. A few of his gym events cross-referenced in public Facebook groups. Times she claimed she was stuck in traffic lined up with his posts about post-workout smoothie runs. She was predictable. In a way, I was grateful. Nothing emotional. No reliving videos or crying into the dashboard. Just data. I exported everything to a new cloud folder. 2-factor authentication. Anonymous name. I didn't even write the password down. If you need to write it down, you don't really need it. At night, I rubbed her back while she told me how sore her feet were. Said she was on set all day wrangling influencers. I nodded. I asked if she wanted tea. She declined. Said she had emails to send. I marked it in the calendar. Blue dot. Wrangling influencers. The next morning, I watched her leave in leggings and a hoodie, clutching her branded tote bag. She blew a kiss from the car window. "See you later, babe." I waved, then opened my laptop. She wasn't deleting anything, not even screenshots. Maybe she thought I was too checked out to notice, or maybe she just didn't care. Her camera roll was a gold mine. Metadata, geotags, midday selfies in hotel bathrooms with captions like "Manifesting boss energy, sent privately to Travis while I was on a conference call 3 blocks away." I bought a second calendar, not for meetings, but for lies. Every late night was coded in red. Every unexplained Uber receipt, every vague Instagram story, mapped and time-stamped. I wasn't watching her to catch her. I was watching her to document the collapse. I took her to dinner the following Thursday, just the two of us. I made reservations at that rooftop place she used to love. She wore red lipstick, said she missed us time. I toasted to 11 years and told her she looked beautiful. She smiled with her whole face, the way she used to before guilt warped the edges. And I realized something. She believed me. That was the scariest part. She still thought she had me. Later, when we lay in bed, she brought up the kids' school fundraiser, asked if I'd volunteer for the auction table again this year. I said, "Sure." She talked for 5 minutes. I nodded twice. She didn't notice how I hadn't said anything real in weeks. Silence carries weight, but only to people who still feel it. She told me she'd be gone that weekend for a branding retreat. Said she was handling merch logistics for Travis's podcast launch. Used the word logistics twice, overcompensation. I said, "Sounds exciting." She kissed me goodbye Friday morning and said not to let the kids eat too much junk. That night, after they fell asleep, I unlocked her external drive. I'd seen it 1,000 times lying on her desk. Labeled Campaigns Master, the kind of thing a husband's supposed to ignore. Inside were folders, photo shoots, bloopers, unedited reels, and beneath it all, buried 2 layers deep, a folder named J+TRAW, password protected. Her go-to password worked on the 3rd try. It wasn't porn, it was video logs. Her talking to the camera, giggling about his soul connection. Her confessing that she didn't feel like a wife anymore, just someone managing a brand partnership with her husband's name on the mortgage. Clips of them goofing off in hotel rooms, her filming his abs, him kissing her forehead. It was a digital scrapbook of their affair, and I copied every second of it. I didn't feel broken. I didn't feel angry. I felt clean, controlled, like a man rebuilding himself plank by plank. Each piece I archived was a tile in the mosaic of her undoing. I didn't want a dramatic confrontation, didn't want to scream or throw things. That would only feed the part of her that still wanted to feel powerful. No, I wanted her to realize, months from now, maybe years, how meticulously I had built the bomb while she smiled through breakfast. I wanted her to see the full picture and realize she'd walked into it willingly, and that I never raised my voice once. She always laughed when I said I'd help with her content. "You wouldn't know where to start," she said once, half-dressed, applying eyeliner for a reel. She was right. I didn't understand her brand language then, not the aesthetics, the cadence, the filters, but I understood it now, intimately. She never changed the admin password to her brand account. She never thought she had to. I was the boring husband who never checked Instagram, let alone her scheduling software. She forgot who helped her build the back end when she launched 2 years ago. I still had access. And arrogance, not cruelty, is what leaves the back door open. Logging in was like stepping into the brain of a woman who had no idea she was about to implode. Folders filled with pitch decks, video drafts, DMs with brand reps, all there. Her upcoming event was called The Elevation Experience: Wellness, Empowerment, Sexual Energy as Creative Force. Travis was listed as a surprise guest speaker. A leaked agenda on her Dropbox called him her sacred masculine co-host. Every click sharpened me. She'd left everything in there. Even old backup drives she must have imported from her phone. Some videos were clearly raw drafts for her campaigns, her on yoga mats, walking along beaches, biting into acai bowls with fake spontaneity. But deeper in, the tone shifted. Same voice, same aesthetic, but different purpose. I found a file labeled T-Traw BTS. At first, it looked like behind the scenes from a retreat, until the camera slipped, until her voice dipped too low, until I realized this wasn't content for her audience. This was content for him. There were 34 clips in total, some filmed by him, some by her. One in particular stood out, her sitting cross-legged, holding his hoodie to her face. "He still thinks I'm at Pilates," she whispered, then giggled. "Poor guy still makes me coffee every morning." I didn't breathe, just marked the timestamp and kept collecting. There was enough material to do what I needed. I didn't want a confrontation. I wanted a film. I started editing. I used her fonts, her voiceovers. I mirrored the way she opened every video, bright-eyed, gentle fade-ins, soft lighting, the same lo-fi instrumental track she used for her product reviews. But instead of smoothie recipes and affirmations, I layered in the mockery. Her moaning, her laughing at me, her whispering his name, her smirking in hotel mirrors, his hand sliding across the frame. I spliced in her inspirational quotes, over footage of her gasping, over a frame where she mouthed, "He's so clueless." The effect was clean, sharp. If you muted it, it looked like a commercial. By the time I finished, the video ran exactly 4 minutes and 16 seconds. I exported it with her logo in the bottom right corner. Then I opened her social scheduler, Facebook event, Instagram live stream, YouTube premiere. I created a new campaign labeled Evening Wellness Q&A, Special Drop Tonight. I made the premiere thumbnail one of her official brand photos, her sitting in a robe, gazing at the sunrise like she was reflecting on something sacred. I scheduled everything to go live at 8 p.m. Saturday, the same minute she was scheduled to take the stage at her brand launch. She had no idea. I didn't stop there. I logged into her newsletter platform. Subject line, "Tonight, something powerful is coming." I hit send. It went to every contact on her list, sponsors, bloggers, collaborators, fans. It was her own curated universe of people who believed in her, who reposted her quotes, who trusted her smile. I was just giving them a closer look at it. The live stream didn't require me. Once set, it was self-running. She couldn't pause it, couldn't delete it. And when the algorithm kicked in, when her followers began tagging and commenting and screen recording, There'd be no undo button. All I had to do was walk away. No dramatic texts, no confrontation, no last-minute arguments. Just a file waiting in the cloud, counting down like a clock inside a wall no one hears ticking. That morning, she showed me her press kit. "Do I look too serious in this one?" she asked, holding up a flyer where her chin was tilted upward, eyes closed, palms open. I said, "You look powerful." She beamed. I kissed her cheek. Later, I watched her leave in a white jumpsuit and designer heels, hair curled, lips glossed. Her assistant texted that they were running ahead of schedule. Her makeup artist posted a reel of her backstage adjusting the mic, nodding at a producer. She thought this was her night. She thought she was ascending. And in a way, she was. Only not to the place she thought. She walked onto the stage like she was floating. White jumpsuit hugging her just right. Chin tilted, eyes scanning the crowd with curated humility. People clapped like she'd already won something. Jessica smiled like she believed it. Behind her, a massive LED screen shimmered with soft gradients and her brand's logo pulsing faintly in the corner. The Elevation Experience in sleek serif, her name above it, slightly smaller. She took the mic with both hands, let the applause swell, then settled. "I just want to thank all of you for believing in what we're building together." They believed, because she made them. She built her image with surgical precision, wellness, empowerment, feminine intuition. She sold her betrayal as self-actualization. I sat near the back, by the espresso cart. One foot resting on the other, a lukewarm cup in my hand. No one looked twice. Just another +1 killing time. She hadn't even known IRSPD. I wasn't there to confront her. I was there to watch. She talked about sacred spaces, energy realignment, future partnerships. She used words like collective nourishment and emotional architecture. Her voice wrapped the room like a throw blanket. And then, at 8:03 p.m., the blanket caught fire. The screen behind her flickered, not glitched, shifted. Her logo vanished. A new video cue appeared. The audience stilled. A few confused murmurs. Someone coughed. She paused mid-sentence, one hand raised toward the screen behind her. A frame appeared. Her bedroom, her sheets, her body. No sound at first, just images. Her smiling, straddling him, their faces close, mouths moving, his hand on her thigh. Then her voice came in, giggling, breathless. "He still thinks I'm working overtime. Poor guy probably made me tea." And there it was. The room didn't explode. It imploded. That kind of silence has mass. It wrapped around the room, pressing in from the corners. One woman actually gasped. Another looked down. A blogger near the front held her phone up, recording the screen with a shaking hand. Jessica turned slowly. She looked like she didn't understand. Then she did. And her face drained. She opened her mouth like she might salvage it, might spin it. But the video rolled on. More clips. Her laughing in the mirror. Him calling her goddess. Her whispering, "Let's see how long till he notices." Her own logo still watermarked in the bottom corner. Her brand fonts, her transitions. Her betrayal, dressed in her own packaging. Someone in the third row stood up. A man in a tailored suit. He didn't speak, didn't gesture, just walked out. She watched him go, her mouth still open. That was her boss. Phones lit up like fireflies, notifications pinging, some attendees turning to leave, others recording. She blinked fast, trying to speak again, but the sound of her own voice kept playing over her. It was her voice that broke her, not the visuals, not even the gasps. It was hearing herself laugh about it all. "That's my favorite part," the version of her on screen was saying. "He thinks I'm out saving our future, and I'm just out here saving orgasms." A brand rep whispered something to another, then walked toward the exit. I didn't need to hear it. It was the kind of whisper that ended contracts. I kept sipping. Jessica stood frozen, blinking into the stage lights. Then she turned, heels wobbling slightly, and stumbled toward the curtains. Someone called her name. She didn't turn. Her coordinator reached for her elbow. She shook her off. The video continued playing as she disappeared backstage. On screen, her eyes were closed, lips parted, sheets tangled. Hashtags floated across the bottom. Sacred energy, healed woman, divine union. She had posted them before. Now they were coming home. Behind the curtains, she was crying. I could hear it from the hallway. I walked slowly, sipping the last of the bitter coffee. The walls were thin. Her sobs weren't dramatic. They were guttural, shocked, animalistic. The sound of someone falling off the map in real time. She was yelling at someone, maybe tech support, maybe her assistant. "Kill the stream! Kill it!" Then her fingers clicking furiously, nails against glass, buttons tapped too fast. But it was too late. The system didn't need her. The event was scheduled, automated, set to loop once. She had designed the very machine that refused to obey her. I stood just outside the dressing room, leaning against the wall. The coordinator passed me without a word. Then the man arrived. Mid-30s, black folder in hand, blazer, calm eyes, the kind of calm that means business. He walked into the dressing room like it was his office. "Jessica Miller?" he asked. She froze, red-eyed. Mascara streaked halfway down her face, hair sticking to the gloss on her lips. She nodded, tiny, childlike. He handed her the envelope. She didn't even look up, just took it, hands trembling. "Consider yourself served." Her mouth moved but didn't produce sound. Still holding the phone, still tapping, still crying. The live stream hadn't stopped. A screen in the hallway showed the video nearing its final seconds, just as she collapsed onto the makeup chair. I could see the chat pouring in. "What is this? Is this real? Oh my God." It was still her brand's channel, still her audience, still live. No one screamed. There was no dramatic breakdown, no apology screamed through sobs, no "please let me explain." Just her, in full view, and that was enough. Because sometimes the most devastating sound in a room isn't screaming. It's nothing. Just the sound of the mask hitting the floor. The next morning was quiet. No angry calls, no tearful voicemails, just stillness. Like the moment after a building collapses, when all that's left is dust and breath. She didn't reach out, not even a text, which told me everything. She was still in shock. I imagine she sat in the ruins of her own creation, scrolling through comment sections that once worshipped her, now dissecting her. She used to post about manifestation and feminine energy. Now they were posting about her, hashtags flipping from praise to parody. Travis vanished, deleted his stories, locked his profile. One vague post about needing to disconnect for mental health, and then silence. No defense, no denial. Just gone. She called him, multiple times. He never picked up. Even betrayal has a hierarchy. And when everything burned, she learned she wasn't the priority. By midday, 3 sponsors had dropped public statements. Corporate PR teams work fast when reputations are at stake. I saw one statement framed as values misalignment. Another simply said, contract terminated effective immediately. None of them named her directly. They didn't need to. The video did that. Screenshots circulated faster than apologies. She tried to spin it, claimed she'd been hacked, said the footage was stolen. She posted once, a black square with white text, something about digital violence, boundaries, healing. The comments were brutal. People weren't stupid. Too many timestamps, too many angles, too many mirrors reflecting the truth right back at her. By Monday, I'd filed. Divorce. Full custody, no emotion, just documents, just facts, timeline attached, screenshots labeled, metadata linked. Colorado courts don't care about sob stories. They care about impact, reckless endangerment, exposure, emotional harm. My attorney said I had an open lane. She had nothing but mascara and excuses. Her lawyer called by Thursday, wanted to settle, offered the SUV, half the equity, limited visitation, and a confidentiality clause. I declined. I wasn't negotiating. I wasn't angry. I was finished. The mortgage shifted into my name that same week. Her name was removed like ink peeled off glass. The SUV went up for sale. I dropped her podcast mic, ring lights, and vision board into boxes and drove them to Goodwill without a word. I didn't even keep the diffuser she loved. The kids? They adjusted, quicker than I expected. I didn't let them see the videos, didn't let them hear the fights that never came. They just knew Mom wasn't home now, and Dad made breakfast, and there were no more hushed phone calls in the hallway or locked bedroom doors. Emma asked if we could paint the guest room, said it felt too mom-ish. Aiden wanted me to sign his field trip slip. Small things, everyday things. The world kept turning, even as hers stopped. I watched her try to claw back her life, tried a podcast apology, got 22 listens, comment section shut off. She tried YouTube. 3 videos in, she gave up. No one believed her anymore. The betrayal wasn't the worst part. It was the arrogance. She built a life on image, and when the cracks formed, she thought she could outshine them. That if she smiled enough, posted the right caption, wore the right tone, people would forgive. But the world saw what she really was, what I saw alone for years. The mask didn't fall. She dropped it herself. I heard from a mutual friend that she was renting a 1-bedroom near Aurora now. No job, no gigs, just her and the echo chamber of what she used to be. She still has the same username, still posts occasionally, stock photos, pre-written affirmations, comments turned off, likes hidden. She thinks she's reclaiming something, but there's nothing left to reclaim. What was hers? The name, the car, the platform, the lie, all of it came undone in one click. And every piece that mattered became mine, not out of spite, but necessity. The house became quiet again, not silent, not hollow, just still, like it used to be, before hashtags and ring lights replaced conversations. The kids laughed more, the air felt lighter, and for the first time in years, I stopped checking the clock. She still texts, not often, but enough to remind me she hasn't let go. Short sentences, half-hearted attempts at rewinding time. Can we talk? I wasn't myself. We could have worked through it. I don't reply. There's nothing left to answer. No version of me that needs the last word. I see the message bubble flicker and fade like a firefly in a jar. Temporary. Trapped. Dying in the same silence she used to ignore me. She used to let my questions hang unanswered for hours. Now I let hers disappear unread. Ironic. She says she wasn't herself. That's the line she chose. Like she blacked out and woke up months later under someone else's body, someone else's moans. But betrayal doesn't need possession. It just needs permission. And she gave it, again and again, with clear eyes and steady hands. You don't whisper someone's name in your sheets by accident. You don't mock your husband on video and call it pressure. I've learned that apologies are rarely about the person they're sent to. They're sent for relief, for washing, for cleansing the conscience. She doesn't want forgiveness. She wants to be someone who was forgiven. She wants to believe the worst thing she ever did can be someone else's responsibility to resolve. But she doesn't get that from me. Not anymore. The world thinks I handled it quietly. I suppose that's true. I never posted a word. Never dropped cryptic status updates or shared breakup quotes with a black background. No new tattoo. No long drives into the woods. Just a man who got quiet, then rebuilt. They ask what happened sometimes. At work, old friends. You doing okay? I say, fine. But what I mean is, I wake up without wondering if the person next to me is real. I sit with my kids and listen, not because I have to, but because I'm actually present. I unlock my phone without the urge to check for damage. Fine is a freedom they don't have the words for. My revenge wasn't loud. It didn't torch her world in one blaze. It seeped in, quiet, cold. It turned everything she counted on to frost, then watched her try to walk barefoot across it. I didn't need fire. I needed control. And silence gave me that. People mistake silence for weakness. They don't understand that silence is restraint with direction. It's the final word that never has to be said. It's the sentence she's still waiting for me to write, the one that would give her closure. But closure isn't hers to ask for. She opened the door. I walked through it. She doesn't get to call me back inside. Sometimes I wonder what she tells people now. Maybe she paints me as cold. Maybe she calls it an overreaction. Maybe she started believing her own rewrites. That's fine. Let her rewrite. Let her try to recast the story where she's the victim of an overplanned vendetta instead of the architect of her own collapse. The truth doesn't need my defense. It already did its job. Every morning I drop my daughter at school. She hugs me tighter than she used to. She doesn't ask where her mom went. She just says, "Thanks for lunch, Dad." My son learned how to scramble eggs last week. He calls them Dad's Special. That's enough for me. They don't know the whole story. They don't need to. All they know is that Dad's here, whole, grounded, not pacing the hallway or staring at closed doors. That's the legacy I'm building now. Not revenge, not grief, presence. I kept the house, not because I'm sentimental, but because I needed to prove something to myself, that I could scrub her shadow out of every room without having to burn the place down. Her perfume's gone, her mug's in the trash, the ring light is boxed in the garage, untouched. There's peace in the mundane now. I fold the laundry, I fix the garage door, I sleep. Real sleep. Not the kind where you flinch at every buzz in the dark. And I don't check her page anymore, not even to gloat. She still posts sometimes, poses beside white walls, overuses the word healing. The comments are empty. The captions read like whispers into a void. She thinks I destroyed her, but I didn't. She was the one holding the matches. I just let the air in. Somewhere out there, she's still trying to build a version of herself that looks whole. Still trying to find a platform that won't crack beneath her. Still hoping that someone, somewhere, will look at her and say, "You were brave." But all I wanted was an ending she didn't control. And I got it. Not with screams, not with flames, but with the quiet certainty of a man who finally stopped bleeding for someone who never once held the wound. And so, we've reached the end of today's story. Was it what you expected, or did it take a twist you didn't see coming? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Share them in the comments below, and let's get a conversation going. If this story kept you hooked, make sure to hit that like button. And if you're new here or just haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time to join our community. I bring you fresh, captivating stories every day, so click that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.